Hi, I'm Jules. Welcome to my home here in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I appreciate you spending a bit of your time with me in this way, and I hope that you will find it fruitful and worthwhile and gain something from it. So, thank you so much for being here. I was supposed to be at a book signing today for Small Business Saturday at a local art center, and unfortunately, it was canceled. So I thought I would share a little bit about my books here with you in this way instead, and maybe reach more people who will appreciate them. So I've written three books, if written counts. The most recent one is a coloring book. So, yes, there's still some text to it. And it's surprising how much thought might go into that little bit of text. I'd like to share a little bit about each one with you, and you can get some free gifts and goodies from thrivetrue.com/gifts. And that includes a free video preview from my first book with the basic steps and a full storytime reading and flip through of my second book, Born to Bloom Bright. So you can, if you are interested in either one, you can taste them a little bit, do a little taste tester, sample them that way, and decide if you think you would like to purchase them or not. So the first one that I wrote, which surprised me when it flowed through me, is called The Girl Who Dances with Delight. And it's actually about attempting to overcome and um, stay out of despair and the depths of grief and drowning in that place. So it is about choosing joy and delight more often, and making a conscious effort to do so because it hasn't always been easy for me. And the basic dance steps, which you can learn more about again in the video, the freebie gifts that are linked below this video. But real quick, I'll go over it's about a morning ritual that I do, not necessarily every day, but many days, and that I feel better when I do. So it's about daily rhythm, ritual, and enrichment, and several different options for the basic steps. So dance is an acronym for dance, movement, affirmations, notes or noticing, celebration, and embrace, embracing ourselves, giving ourselves a self-love hug at the start of each day, and life and all the messes and marvels that it throws our way. So it is a textbook, not textbook like school book, but a book of text, writing black and white. On the inside, it is hugged with a few poems. So maybe I'll read one of those as the reading in place of the book signing or a part of it. So it opens and closes with poems. The rest of the book is not written in poetry. And this one is called Let There Be Dancing. It was inspired by a wall hanging that hung on my bedroom door as a child and teenager that my aunt, who I was named after, had made before she passed away, and she died before I was born, just 2 years before I was born. So, Let There Be Dancing. And I won't read the whole thing, but I'll just highlight a few parts, whatever stands out. Would you like to come inside from the chills of a bitter world? Bring all the tears you've shed to be turned into wine. A toast to your courage. Come on inside. Warm your strong, soft, sacred spirit by the eternal fire of mother love. Listen to the divine song. As the crickets and the angels serenade us, shall we sing along? And I'll skip to the end now. Let us trust the stardust, sparkles in our eyes. Let us see ourselves in the moonlight and behold the divine within us. And so this is an invitation to a moon dance. It has 29 to 30 days worth of ideas, suggestions, things to explore and try on as a way of dancing with life, with yourself, with the delight within and around you. So you can check that out if you'd like. That is the first one. It's available on my website if you want a signed copy, and it's also available on Amazon and bookshop.org, the IndieBound, where you can get it from independent bookstores or request that they order it that way. The second book is called Born to Bloom Bright, and I had the honor and joy and pleasure of working with 18 other artists from all over the world and featuring their art within the pages uh, to pair with a poem that I wrote that was a sort of found poem inspired by garden catalogs and seed catalogs. So it's available in both paperback and hardcover. That one back there is the hardcover version that stands on its own. And it's really full of affirmations. The poem is a sort of extended affirmation. I noticed afterwards it could be similar to the I'm a Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. So it's kind of similar to that, but I did not think of that when I was writing it. But it has that same kind of energy that is a declaration or an affirmation of your inner qualities and being supported by all of the plant energy and allies in the natural world around us. So it's kind of combining those two because it's embodying a lot of those plant essences and strengths. So let's flip to a page and see what we get. This art is by an artist friend who I met online, whose name is Kelly Siegel, and she spends time in New York and Costa Rica for her living. There are people from all over, from Taiwan, India, Australia, um, whose art is featured in here. And this page says, I am a vigorous grower, questing my sacred center, like a brilliant bush on fire, able to flourish anywhere, adaptable and kind. And so each page, it's meant to be read from the beginning, but a lot of them can stand on their own. I am an exquisite bouquet. And this one's by Flora Obe, one of my mentors and co-creators. There's another one. I am a perennial sweet pea, prolific and endearing darling, wonderfully colored, a field of bliss. And this is by Susan Nethercote, an Australian artist who I love and have been fortunate to get to know. So there is art paired with each one. It's kind of similar to how you could use oracle cards and inspiration cards if you just want to flip to a page like I just did. Or you can read through it anytime you need a little encouragement or want to just tune into that center your ability to grow and flourish. And yeah, so it is very much inspired by the natural world and the plants and how, I mean, that's what nourishes us. That's what we eat and keeps us healthy. So all of those are in there. And you can, again, see the storytime reading and flip through of the entire thing for free from my website. Get the link below for that. Um, so this is another one that is available on my website if you'd like signed copies and or from Amazon if you would like to get it that way with the free shipping deals that they have. So those are the first two. And this one is also, I kind of invite you to add your own doodles and marks around the pages and additional flowers and plants that might speak to you if they're not already part of it. So it can be a co-creative um, experience if you want it to be, and it's not necessary. So that's completely up to you. But both of them have that, all three of them have that aspect of collaboration and co-creating with me and with you together in some way. And the final one, which I don't have yet, the non-proof, the actual final one. So this says not for resale across the front because this is the proof copy, brand new, releasing this week. So it should be live on Amazon in a few days, beginning of December. Um, so by the time you watch this, it might be. And I will have links for it below, and you can also pre-order it on my website already now. So this is my first coloring book, Wisps and Whims Amidst the Blue Ridge Mountains. And that's where I currently live. So it was largely inspired by the Appalachian Mountains. All through them, I spent my young early childhood in wild, wonderful West Virginia. Any other mountaineers out there? Um, and really spent a lot of my time in the woods and wandering around wide open spaces. It was a great place to have to be a young child. And then I moved to Florida as a teenager and spent my teenage years and went to high school in the Florida Keys and then went to the University of Florida and lived in South Florida for many years before moving back to the ancient Appalachian Mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains here in North Georgia on the North Carolina-Tennessee border. So I kind of spend my time in the internet can't even figure out which state I'm in most of the time because we're so close on the border, the tippy top of Georgia next to North Carolina. So a lot of times it thinks I'm in North Carolina. Anyway, this is inspired by this area. The next one's going to be about the islands, so that's coming. This first one is about where I live now, and all of these sketches were created by hand, hand drawn, not on a tablet or anything. Just in on here's some of the originals on paper out of a sketchbook with a marker, so there was no erasing, and really about being present in the moment with a deep reverence and appreciation for nature and the blessings around me, the views, enjoying the views, and bringing exploring the connections. So that's, let me just read the from the back cover, the beginning here that says, inspired by the fascinating ways various things interact, overlap, and intersect, you're invited to investigate the connections in the web of life through the pages. Feel free to cross the lines and play with possibilities. Each choice can evoke different moods, energies, and interesting perspectives. What colorful touches will you add? And there are a few examples of the ways that I colored them, which might not necessarily be most obvious way that somebody might, because I often split up areas and colored them in like as if there was a waterfall in the background, even though there was nothing there saying that there was necessarily. And this was actually looking down at a Zen goldfish pond. But when I ended up coloring it, it still ended up feeling like there's some sky and sun up here. And this one's called Welcome to My Pad. It is inspired by the little Zen pond goldfish pond that we dug out and built in front of our front porch. And a little frog sitting there with, kind of in conversation with the fish or interacting in their own way. And I like the play on meaning to be welcome to my home, as in we are exploring my home through these pages and the sketch pad. So that's what this is. Coloring book. This one's called Moon Full of Gladness, and it was drawn while I was sitting on the front porch. The gladiolas were in bloom, and it had been right after, I think it was a full blue moon at the time, although I don't remember, but that is how I chose to color it. So there's a little bit about each one, about the inspiration for each of the sketches or when or where they were drawn. The one on the front is called Folk Tales and Hay Bales, and it was actually started while I was in my car. I had my sketch pad sitting on the steering wheel drawing, so it was a little bit of a wobbly wonky spot. But I was in a parking lot in Blue Ridge, Georgia, waiting for something I think my kids might have been taking the SAT, I don't remember. And I was overlooking the little downtown that we have there, well, I was up above it. You can't really see the buildings in the downtown from there. But there was, I think these were actually like bank buildings. I don't remember for sure that were down below, but they did have these little wind guys up top, and it might not have been a bird. I don't remember what it was, but it was these kind of shapes and window shapes that inspired it where I was looking. And there was a long range mountain view in the distance. So even though you might not guess I was in town when I was doing this one, I happened to be. It's one of the few that I was in town at the time. I think this was like a chain link fence. Um, but when I drew it, I mean, when I colored it, it wanted to have hay bales, so I added these little spirals there. I wanted a little cat to feel more like it was a barn out in the country, and maybe a barn quilt, or on a little maybe a pond or creek coming in here. So it's fun to explore the different connections. Here's a deer, one with a deer because we have so many deer around our home. And I think it also has a squirrel hiding in the tree. So I hope this one was inspired by shadows. So it's completely different, not as more abstract-ish, but still fun to color. And you get to decide where you color and how you color. And if you don't want to color it, it could still be used as a time to meditate by exploring the imagery and how the different things connect. You could even just go with your finger along the lines to kind of deep, bring yourself into the present to have that. Here's how I say it on the back. May you enjoy getting lost in the process or finding your way to a calm center. Let this be an escape, a fun side trip, or a moment of mindful meditation, relaxation, rebellion, or communion. And so you could use it that way, even if you didn't want to color the pages, or as writing prompts, journal prompts, poetry prompts. I often write ekphrastic poetry inspired by art and imagery. So there's lots of different ways it can be used, but it was created to be a coloring book and add your own colorful touches and explore that way. So if you happen to have ever visited the Blue Ridge Mountains and have a fond spot for it in your heart, this might be a fun way to visit, even if you're not here most of the time. And if you've never been here, it might be a fun way to kind of get to know it a little bit and travel through the pages that way. So that's the newest book, um, and it is available for pre-order on my website, link below, and available on Amazon soon. And I hope that it will be available at a lot of small shops, local shops throughout the Appalachian Mountains. So if you know anyone who might want to carry a copy, please send them my way. I would love for you to introduce us. There are bulk discounts available on all three on my website. So if you want to get several for gifts or for donations, or for if you happen to have a boutique or if you're a teacher, um, gift shop, any of those, doesn't matter what the reason is, if you want to order several together, you can get a bulk discount. Depending on the book, the amount of books I think might vary. So that I will have that information below as well. And I would really, really love to be working with more small shops for mutual benefit for everyone involved, for myself, for them, and for those who get to discover, find these little treasures when they're shopping, maybe on vacation or just exploring their own staycation. So those are the books to date, and I get to share with you this way since I'm not there locally for the book signing today as planned. So I hope that you might enjoy exploring them a little further, whether you do that through the story time on my website or whether you bring one into your home and heart. I thank you so much for considering it and for spending a bit of time with an independent artist like me in this way. Thank you. And I wish you well. Many wonderful, beautiful blessings, bountiful blessings to you.